Welcome to Meet the Candidate. My guest for this session is Tom McGarry, who is running for the 6th Legislative District, House of Representatives. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Sue Lani.
So this is an opportunity just to get acquainted, and I start with tell me about where you grew up and went to school.
Sure. I grew up in Rawlins, Wyoming. I went to St. Joseph's Elementary School, where I had some very wonderful teachers, including Mrs. East, who was the individual who instilled in me a certain sense of confidence when you're in the 6th grade. I was pretty lanky, or not lanky, I was overweight and kind of awkward, you know, so she helped me out a lot there. I went to Rawlins High School, graduated in 1977, where I was in the band. My claim to fame there was that I was first chair trombone in all-state band in 1976. But what's fun about that is that I've reconnected with my old band director, Gary Domke, on Facebook. So after 40 years, we see him again. I attended the University of Wyoming. I graduated with a double major in 1982, a Bachelor of Social Work and a Bachelor of Science. It was in undergraduate school where I interned for a state legislator by the name of Jerry Mickey, who was a great guy. That kind of got me interested in the law. I then worked for a few years, and I decided I should go to law school. So I had applied for a number of schools, and I came out to visit in Spokane. Absolutely fell in love with the city. I remember leaving a blinding snowstorm in Denver and getting up here, and people were running around in shorts and shirt sleeves, and
not always,
and it was, well, I'll tell you what, it was really nice. I didn't have a car, so I had to walk around, and what impressed me so much about the city of Spokane and this part of the region was how friendly people were. I mean, I grew up in a small town of about 10,000, and Spokane maybe being how much bigger than that, but still that same kind of an atmosphere where if you'd ask for directions, by the way, I'm not afraid to ask for directions, people wouldn't tell you where it was, they would show you, you know. That really impressed the heck out of me. So I decided to go to law school here. I fell in love with the whole region, Eastern Washington. I've been here for over 30 years. I met Mary Wissink, who's a native Spokane woman, a native daughter, and we got married in 1994, and we're the proud parents of a 10-and-a-half-year-old golden retriever who I want to report is doing just fine. She had to go to the veterinarian this morning, but she's doing just fine. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm a fire commissioner.
Which fire district?
I am a fire commissioner in my second term for Fire District 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've been a volunteer with a Lincoln County Fire District for many, many years, but we mutual aid across the county.
Oh, sure,
line,
absolutely, yeah.
Oh, okay. So what was your first work experience there back in Rawlins, Wyoming?
My first work experience was I was 14 or 15 years old, and my dad said, the druggist or the pharmacist across the way is hiring. Do you want a job? And I thought, well, what the heck? So I interviewed with Steve, and he hired me on the spot, and I worked as a clerk in a drugstore / gift shop / sundries, you know, a small place along Highway Drugstore in Rawlins, Wyoming was the name of it. And something funny about that was 40 years later, just after I announced, Steve sent me a personal message wishing me well on my run for office. So I guess he remembered me, and it was a nice comment. So that was kind of cool, too, to do that reconnecting.
Well, what else did you learn from that job?
You know, I learned a lot of self-confidence. That, again, I was always pretty awkward as a kid, but you know, I knew that by working hard, what was the comment? If you have time to lean, there's time to clean, right?
Yeah.
Have you heard that before?
Yep, heard that one.
And developed a pretty good work ethic. I think that's probably why Steve liked me so much. And I learned a lot about people, and I learned that I liked people and that I like to interact and I like to make people laugh whenever it's possible.
Okay. So, are there some other interesting travel or volunteer experiences that have helped shape your point of view of the world?
Well, I've always been involved in various, even in Wyoming, I was with the Carbon County Peace Officers Association. I worked for the courts for several years. But having moved to Spokane, I was on the board of directors of the West Central Community Center. In fact, I was president of the board during a construction phase where they doubled the footprint of the West Central Community Center, which was fantastic. It was great. And then, like I say, I've been a fire commissioner now for, I think, about 10 years. I'm in my second term.
Okay. Well, what prompted you to step on and take on this more partisan politics, fire commissioner being not usually quite as contentious? Right.
Well, that's a good question. I have 30 years experience as an attorney. Like I say, 10 years as a fire commissioner. I like to tell people that I've been on the receiving end of these laws now for about 30 years. I understand what the effects and what the intended effects are. I kind of decided that I think it's time to be on the law-making side of things and maybe to improve some of the existing laws. I think that one of the things that troubles me is that I think a lot of times, or at least sometimes, laws are passed with the best of intentions, but the law of unintended consequences oftentimes rears its ugly head. And I think it's important to really think through, anytime you make a vote, how does this affect the people? So that's what made me decide to do it. There are any number of other reasons. We're now facing a very difficult time, and I think I'm the right person. I have the right skill sets and the right temperament to take on the job in the 6th Legislative District.
So how do you see the responsibilities of the job of representative in the legislature?
Right. Of course, the legislature's, I think the number one job is, like I say, to listen to people. I think we have to put our own personal opinions aside to give credence to absolutely everybody. Of course, you have to make a decision now and then, and you have to make a tough decision. One of the things that has really bothered me about government, and we're seeing this in our society, where the extremes of liberal and conservative, Democrat, Republican, is growing further and further apart. And I think it's incumbent upon any elected official to reach across the aisle to try to come together in the best interests of the people in the 6th Legislative District in this case.
Okay. Well, that brings us to our closing remarks, and you get that last 60 seconds to why should people vote for Tom McGarry for 6th Legislative District State House of Representatives? Well,
first of all, I do want to thank you for having me here, and I want to thank your sponsors. It's a great service for the public, and I really enjoy it, and I think you do a great service. These are serious times, and I think serious times require serious people. Again, I have the experience that is necessary to work with people, to reach across both sides of the aisle, to work to make sure that as we emerge from this pandemic and the inevitable budget cuts that will have to be made, I mean, it's been devastating and will continue to be devastating economically for some time to come, but I think it's absolutely critical to work with others from Eastern Washington and in the caucus to ensure that the citizens of Eastern Washington aren't unfairly or disproportionately affected by these budget cuts. We need to have a strong advocate in the 6th Legislative District, and I'm that person. I'm Tom McGarry. I'm running for State House, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for coming to the studio today, Tom, and good luck on your campaign.
Thank you.
90 million Christians are eligible to vote.
40 million didn't.
That's 45% of eligible Christians not voting.
We can change that.
We believe We Vote was designed to arm people of faith with information on candidates
and how they line up with biblical and constitutional principles.
It's simply WeBelieveWeVote.com.
We're on a mission to rev up the 2020 election.
Tell your friends, your neighbors, and especially your pastors to rev up.
Be an educated voter.
Arm yourself with truth based on the Word of God.
2020. Rev up.
Register, educate, vote.
Rev up.
Rev up.
Rev up 2020.